Alright everybody, thanks for joining me, and today we are going to be taking a look at some Pokemon market analysis and really look at your Pokemon investments and how we can use information in order to make it easier to understand where you're at in position on some of these markets. So guys, if you're new here, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and last but not least, hit that like button. We can get 75 likes in this video. It's greatly appreciated, helps us out a ton, and of course, it's free for you, so be sure you hit that like button before you leave. It's greatly appreciated. Now, when we sit here and look at making decisions, especially in graded cards, which I'm not a big proponent of graded cards right now. I think that market's a little inflated. Some things are way overrated. Some things are way out of whack yet. And until that graded market really starts to kind of simmer and get into a pattern, it's really difficult to want to get into it. But it is also a really good way to explain how you can actually look at Pokemon cards and make decisions on maybe which cards would be a little bit underrated in the future, which ones may be a little bit overrated, and actually be able to lay it out in a simpler form. And I'm going to use modern Pokemon cards because the vintage ones are also out there. You can find market caps on all of these cards. It's not that hard, but I like to use the modern because most of the people that are watching this channel, I know a lot of people that are newer to the hobby and are starting and investing will understand modern cards just because they're in front of their face all the time. And that makes it a little bit easier when it comes to Pokemon investing to explain things, is when you can visualize a card and you understand currently why that card's important, then you're going to actually be more in tune and be able to understand this a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do today, is go over, I've got two modern cards here that we're going to break down and actually explain what we're looking at and how you can use this information to your advantage. So today, the first one I'm going to pull up here is the PSA Pikachu VMAX Rainbow Rare. Now, I know everybody knows this Rainbow Rare, the Chunkachu, the Rainbow Chunkachu, whatever you want to call it. This card has been in infamy since it was released back in December of 2020, that this is the hottest Pikachu right now on the market. And this is why I wanted to pull this one up, is it because everybody recognizes it. It's a really recognizable card in the modern field, and everybody that's new to this hobby understands what it is. So the first number I'm going to pull up for you guys is the PSA 10. Now, the PSA 10 currently right now is going for about $393. There are a total of 26,033 of these cards available right now in the market from PSA. That's how many have been graded at a PSA 10, and so that's how many are out there. That means that the market cap on this is about $1,034,769. So if you bought every single PSA 10 right now at today's market, you would be paying that much, about 1.1 million roughly, in order to pull that off. That seems like a really staggering number. And there's a couple things you can look at for the market when you look at this. Number one, if you're looking at this card, and especially in older cards and stuff, can I get a controlling share with that? Is the price low enough that I can purchase enough of these to actually have a say in how this is going to perform in the future? Am I going to be able to purchase enough to turn the dragon to where I want it to be in order to try and lift that price up or maintain that price? And at that kind of levels, majority of people are going to say no. Realistically, to get a controlling factor of this, you'd probably have to buy about 200 to 250 of them. So you're looking at between $80,000 and $100,000 in order to pull that off. Is that realistic for most people? No. Now, what I want to look at next is the PSA 7, which is a little bit better when it comes to an option. And the PSA 7 in this is running about $177.50 a piece. It's not a huge drop. It's a drop from PSA 10, but in terms, it's actually not too bad considering right now with the price of grading. If you could get a 7, 8, or 9, you still could do some fairly decent damage with that card. And the other thing that I like about it is that you can pull this off with only 141 of them versus the 26,033 that are available in PSA 10, which means your total market cap on this is about $25,027. So what does that mean when it looks at in terms of numbers? When you see these two numbers next to me, so what are you getting out of this? So what you're getting is that you find out it's a lot more obtainable to get into the PSA 7s at that $177.50 range for the $25,000 if you could buy them all, which realistically it's going to be nearly impossible. The other thing is that tells you right there is that potentially the PSA 10 might be a little bit overrated. I know it's a PSA 10. Sometimes a 10 will draw it, But when you sit there and look at where the 7's at, where you look where the 8 is for the market cap, you look at the 9 for the market cap, and then all of a sudden the 10 is way out of whack with so many graded cards on it, that tells you that there might be a little bit of a heavier overrating on that card. Or it also could tell you that the cards underneath that 10 are a little bit underrated. So is the 7 actually underrated with only 141 available in that number and it being $170 or $177? Could that card potentially go up in order to get a little bit closer to that PSA 10 because that number is just a little bit out of whack? That's the thing is you got to determine, and here's the reason I wonder if it's out of whack, is because now I go down to the PSA 4. Now the PSA 4 has got 13 cards, guys. There's 13 cards in the PSA 4, and they're $112 a piece. That isn't a huge difference between a 10 and a 4 on this card, right? So that could mean also that the 10's underrated. It just depends on how you want to interpret the data. When I interpret this, and personally, when I look at this and I see everything from 9 to 4 lining up pretty consistently, and then I see that 10 with that huge jump with a gigantic number of cards in that population, that tells me that 10 is actually probably overrated, while the other cards are probably just a little bit maybe underrated. So there's probably some give both ways, and you might have some opportunities right there in them PSA cards. Granted, I'm not condoning PSA. I'm just using this as a way to understand market cap and how this can actually work in your favor to understand what's happening in this market. Now, the other way that a market cap can be used is for a determination on whether or not you could actually control that whole market or have the market share in it in the early infancy of a set. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the MaChamp alternate art. Now, this came out from Astro Radiance. This is the second card I want to go over because we were having the discussion before when it was first released that some people might have been buying all of them alternate arts when they were low. When they were about $60 at that really low price, they all of a sudden were all bought and the price went up to $140. Like they all consistently moved at the exact same price. It wasn't a slow move. It wasn't like over a day you saw consistent sales with price going up. So when supply went down, of course, the demand went up and the price went up with it. No, it was like a consistent, someone bought them all in the morning and by afternoon they were sitting up there at double the price. And that was one of the concerns that we had with that card is with the low print of Astro Radiance, the hard pull rates of that MaChamp alternate art, was that a consideration that you could actually have controlling share of that with like a couple people? Realistically, one person could have had controlling share. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look any better with the PSA 10 MaChamp card either. If we look at that PSA 10 MaChamp alternate art card, I'm going to show you two scenarios that you could do right now, which is, of course, if you were to buy them all right now, there's 19 of these alternate arts. Now, granted, PSA is just getting these through. People have paid the express, have gotten them early, and now the first group of these will probably be going through in the next couple weeks. We'll see more and more of that 19. Of course, 4 days ago, it was at 16. Now on Friday, it was at 19. I'm guessing by Monday, it'll be up again. But realistically, 19 is not that many. Not too many people paid for that express grading on this. I think a lot of people have been using the raw as their actual vehicle for this. But if you look at that, that means if you wanted to own every single PSA 10 MaChamp alternate art card from Astro Radiance, you would have to have about $6,650. Guys, I've got that. I could be sitting here right now and buying all these MaChamp cards, putting them away, or using it right now in the market to manipulate that price and actually maybe tweak it up because we've had sales at about $550 and $450. Right now, the average price is $350 for the ones that are on buy it now. So you could actually sit there and have the ability to maybe tweak that back up to $500 and then sell these cards. A quick little play, a quick ability to actually be able to manipulate a little bit and be able to get what you want out of this market. Now, you sit there and think, well, maybe those 10s aren't available, right? People have them in collections. People are not really selling them. They're just sitting on them or they're buying them for their personal collections. Well, right now, currently, today, as of the recording of this on Friday, there are a total of 11 of these PSA 10 cards. So 11 out of 19 are listed currently on eBay. eBay alone. And then there's 2 on Mercari. So in one fall swoop, then they're all under buy it now. You could purchase a total of 13 of those cards. 13 of them. 13 of those cards right now, buy it now, $350 average. Some are 300, some are about 400. Ends up averaging out to be about $353.26. That would be your average to go on there right now and go buy it all, add them all to your cart, buy them all, go to Macari, buy the 2 there. There you go. You've got 13 of these things right now. That is a huge controlling share, considering 4 of them have been sold on eBay and all of them have sold over $450. So another issue there too is that tells you that you could buy all these at $350 and maybe sell them for $450 because there were recent sales on these. And if you're the only one that has those numbers, you're going to be the only one selling them. Someone that paid $450 or $500 for this is not going to try and sell them below that price what they sold them for. They probably bought them for their collections, and thus you sit there and think about it. So out of 19 of them, we know that there were 17 of them are. There's 2 that are missing that have not been up for sale. 2 of the 19 have not been listed for sale yet, or we just haven't found where they're listed for sale yet. They might be on a personal site. They might be somewhere else that we're just not seeing. It might even be on Facebook Marketplace if you were to try and find that PSA 10. Who knows? But realistically, you could own 13 out of 19 today. You could go out and buy them. Now, what does that mean? That means you could have controlling share of PSA 10 for probably for at least a few weeks. And if you watch, you could probably continue to grab those because people are going to see recent sales at $350 and keep pulling them in all the way up until a point of where you run out of money, right? And then you could lift that price. That's where price manipulation is a really good possibility. And that's just me, myself, could do this with what's available out there right now. It wouldn't take much. And that's where I want to make a point that people watching these population reports and people watching the market caps and understanding this could also manipulate the Pokemon market to where some of the items that are a little bit lower population or a little bit harder to get can purchase these and actually force that price up. And we could see it. There is an opportunity for it to happen. And these are things I like for people to be aware of when they're investing in Pokemon and when they are actually sitting here and thinking about the market and doing market analysis, how they can make those determinations to be safe when they're looking at what they're doing in this stuff. And then also understand that if you look back in the past and use these market cap numbers such as this, you can actually take this information and decide whether or not a card is overrated or underrated when you look at the whole scale or look at similar cards to it in the same sets or eras. You can actually use these population reports to decide whether or not these are actually overrated or underrated cards. And that's what we used to do back in 2019 for a lot of these graded cards, was use this system in order to determine when something was overrated or underrated and be able to purchase some of those to put them for sale and do the flipping through on the graded cards, or make the determination whether you should buy a bunch of these raw, try and find the best raws that you can and send them off for grading if you know that there's an opportunity in that PSA 10, even if you know it's in the 7, 8, 9, and 10 market. There's some great opportunities potentially there to actually make a little bit of income. So once again, guys, hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully it clears up a little bit on how you can use market caps in order to be a better investor and be able to keep yourself safe when it comes to potentials of someone actually manipulating that market, pushing pricing up higher than what it should be. And you can identify those situations using that market cap information and be safe. It is a really good opportunity to be safe using this. So once again, guys, hopefully this was some good information. If it helps you out, if it helps you on your investing journey, hit that subscribe button so I can help you out more. Hit that notify so that you get let know when we're doing new things. And last but not least, hit that like button. We can get 75 likes in this video. Greatly appreciated. Helps us out a ton, and it's free for you. Also, if you do like this content, as always, I will put up these 2 videos over here to help you out. And we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.